And if you were listening, you would have said that I mentioned Indianapolis. So at least we've narrowed it down. And no, it's not Jonathan Taylor. Although keep an eye out, he has an injury. He has an injury designation this week, and he did not practice today, which is kind of common on Wednesdays for most players. But anyways, no, it's not Jonathan Taylor. My fool's goal player for Week 9 is Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. Um, Last week they benched Matt Ryan. Some people were happy to see it. Their record supposedly, was bad enough to just try it out. I don't really know, but yeah, I mean, you lose a lot of fumbles, you throw a lot of interceptions, you're going to get benched, and that's what happened to Matt Ryan. Sam Ellinger came in his place, and he did fairly well. And I will say this: Michael Pittman's day could have looked a lot better last week. He missed pretty much a game-winning 30 or 40-yard pass right through his hands, and that could have given him probably about a 10-point fantasy day. But instead, he settled right around that 7-point range, and it's just kind of sad what's going on because Sam Ellinger. Maybe it's his first game out. They want to temper his expectations. They want to keep him grounded. They want to make him feel comfortable. Limited his passing attempts. I think he scurried about 6 or 7 times. But the targets that Michael Pittman did get, because I know you're probably wondering, well, Michael Pittman, he saw 9 targets, 7 catches for 53 yards. And sure, that's a great PPR day. It's not. I mean, it's what? I think like I said, he had like 7 or 8 points. But what happens here is that if you look at Sam Ellinger's stats from that day, I don't think he threw a bar. His average depth of target was like 6 yards, meaning everything that Michael Pittman was getting was close to the line of scrimmage. Was he under pressure? Were they just trying to play it safe? Sure, it could be a combination of both of those reasons. I don't think it gets better this week. Okay. I don't like that Sam Ellinger was doing what he was doing. It didn't bode well for guys. It didn't even bode well for the running backs. I mean, we could just talk about the Indianapolis offense as a whole. I mean, you're looking at a guy like Jonathan Taylor last week who caught 7 balls. Deion Jackson caught 10 balls earlier this year because Matt Ryan was just a dump off king. We didn't see that last week. What we saw was Sam Ellinger rushing out of the pocket. And that limits the upside of the Indianapolis Colts running backs. But we're talking about Michael Pittman Jr. specifically here. I mentioned a few things already. This week they play the Patriots. And if you know anything about the Patriots, whose defense hasn't necessarily been the greatest so far this year, but if there's one thing that, Bill Belichick knows how to do, it's how to shut down rookie running backs. And Sam Ellinger isn't a rookie, right? I get that. I understand that. But he certainly doesn't have a lot of experience. And I think Bill Belichick is going to exploit that this week. There's not a lot to say here. I just don't feel confident in the matchup. I like Jacoby Myers, other side of the ball. I like him more this week. I like Christian Kirk, who's had a few down weeks. I like him against Las Vegas. Juju versus Tennessee. I like Raheem Mostert if you're dealing with that flex position. I like Duvernay, wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. They've already ruled out Rashad Bateman. There's questionable tags there on guys like Mark Andrews. So I like Duvernay. He did fall in the end zone last week. I didn't say fall. He did have a rushing touchdown. I heard it. It feels bad to say it. It feels gross. I like Romeo Doubs better than Michael Pittman this week, and I'm not a big fan of Romeo Doubs. I just don't think it's in the cards. Now, are we going to be having the same conversation, 3 or 4 weeks from now? Sure, maybe, possibly. But I'd like to think things change as Sam Ellinger kind of progresses and develops a little bit more throughout the rest of the season, the second half or so, that he kind of finds himself. They really want to see what they have in him. They start letting him sling it. Sure, that's great. I'd be happy to put Michael Pittman back in my lineup. And that's not to say that you're not going to be putting Michael Pittman in your lineup. Maybe you don't have any of these guys that I just mentioned. That's the other thing about fool's gold players. You need to temper your expectations. it's not a move you want to make. It's probably not a move you're going to make by benching Michael Pittman. I'm just saying that there are options out there that I like more than him this week. Feel free to drop your start sit questions in the chat below, and I'll be happy to answer them as they come. But there you have it. Michael Pittman, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, my fool's gold player for week 9 of the fantasy football season.